Hey everyone, good morning. It's Justice for Comics. Going to be reviewing the top 20 list by CovrPrice. This comes out every week. This is the one for week ending October 14th. I'll review the list with you and kind of give you my opinions on these books and give you an idea of what's moving. CovrPrice uses an algorithm to track pricing on auctions, eBay, things like that. So it's a little bit more accurate, kind of gives you a good scale of what's moving for the week in comic book land. So let's jump on into it with number 20. Let me zoom in here a little bit. All right, number 20 is X Factor number 15. This was kind of a hot book last week as well. First appearance of the Horsemen, the Apocalypse Horsemen. Only 3 of them, though. I believe the 4th one isn't revealed until later in the series. I think maybe issue 18 or 19. A few issues later, I believe the 4th Horseman, which I believe is Wolverine, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think that's who becomes the 4th Horseman of the Apocalypse. But looks like a 9/8 just sold for $72. It doesn't seem too expensive. Still below $100. I bet you can still find that book in some back issue bins. I do own that particular issue. Bought it probably for cover price. So probably, a good long-term hold. I do think eventually they're going to develop more of these X-Men movies. And I think the Apocalypse and his Horsemen being done by Marvel could be really, really good. So it's kind of a long bet on that, but that might be a good one to look for when you're in the local comic book shop. Number 19, Spawn 301, the Opeña variant. It is a cool-looking cover. It says it's up 107% in the last week. Yeah, that's definitely a cool cover. I like the setup style of that and the design of that variant. Raws are going for about $10. Sounds about right. Number 18 on the list is X Factor number 6. This is the first appearance of Apocalypse. I think his first cameo is in issue 5, but this is his first. Basically, this is his first appearance, first full. Classic issue. I have a copy in my collection as well. A lot of those early issues of X Factor were actually pretty good. I collected a lot of them as a kid when I was younger, so it brings back memories having those issues. Number 17 on the list, Deceased number 5, the horror homage, the Putri variant. Curse of La Llorona. I'm not too sure. I don't think I've seen that movie, but up 97% in the last 7 days. Raws are going for about $10. So, yeah, I mean, it's a cool looking cover. Putri is a good artist. Number 16 on the list, Venom, Lethal Protector number 1. An oldie but moldy 1993 classic 90s comic, heavily printed. Probably why it still goes for not too much money. I can walk into most comic book shops and still pick that issue up near mint condition for $15 to $20. I don't think it's too hard to find that. There was a lot of those printings back in the 90s. The next film's coming out, I think next year, so there'll be a little bit of heat on those early Venom issues. Number 15, House of X number 4. 7-day trend up 96%. Raw's going for about $11. Unless you've been living under a rock. Powers of X, House of X. I know, it's House of 10, Power of 10, Powers of 10. I like to say X, sorry. To each his own. That series has been very, very good. Hickman's revitalized the X-Men titles. And I heard X-Men number 1 was decent, so I haven't read it yet. I should be getting it in the next week. I do monthly ordering, so I'm usually not. That's why I don't do a lot of comic book reviews, because I'm usually late in getting the books anyways. Number 14 on the list, Strike Force number 1. The New York Comic Con Christopher variant. I don't know if I know what this looks like. Yeah, it's a cool cover. I like the image of that. Very nice. That's going for about 12 bucks. I'm sorry, I read the wrong line there. It's going for about $55. Okay, yeah. So I was probably, or if you were early on that, you probably could have got that for about 25 to 30, and now it's going for about 55. And there's also a Rogue green cover for Uncanny X-Men 21 that looks pretty cool. That came out in the San Diego Comic-Con. Number 13, Batman Superman number 2. This is the first appearance of the Shazam Who Laughs. Definitely, I was recommending that prior to it coming out. It's a first appearance. Don't know if there's any longevity to it. Obviously, there's longevity to the Batman Who Laughs, as that first appearance still goes for pretty decent money. 12 bucks for that book, and that was definitely a good one. I picked up a couple copies of that, so it's a good book to have, especially the A cover with him on the front cover there. Number 12 on the list, Spawn number 1. This has been off and on a bunch of hot lists for the last year, running up to that historic issue. And you know, if you're gonna buy a Spawn number 1 and you don't have one yet, I would really try to hunt down a newsprint, a newsstand one. A lot more rare. Back then, in the 90s, 92 when that came out, most Spawns were sold in comic book shops, so they were all direct editions. There were a few that were newsstand. I bought 12 cases of Spawn 1 through 4, sold by Walmart, and they were all newsstand. And I sold them all. I didn't even keep one. How stupid was that? I made good money. I mean, I definitely made money off those. I think I tripled my money. And I literally sold it to a comic book shop. So back then, there really wasn't eBay back then. So imagine if there was eBay. I really could have done well. But yeah, Spawn number 1. I don't know if they're going to come out with a movie. It sounds like McFarlane's kind of nixed that idea here recently. So yeah, he'll probably wait a year or two, and then you'll see some news about it again. So hold on to your Spawn number 1s, I suppose. Number 11 is Deceased number 4, the cardstock Matina variant, hitting a raw sale of $9, up 112%. Yeah, it's a cool cover. It's a nice evil cover of the Joker. I think Matina was taking notes from Arthur Sudam. I don't know if he was copying him or not. I know he still hasn't quite shaken that reputation yet. Number 10, Ghost Rider number 1, New York Comic Con glow in the dark variant. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Definitely has that 90s vibe to it. I probably have a glow in the dark Ghost Rider from the 90s. I think they did several of those. So that's kind of reminiscent of that. Yeah, going for $57, so that book's going for good money. I got the black cover, the full black Ghost Rider cover. I just think I like a black or red cover, so that was the one I chose. Only paid cover price for it. Number 9, Undiscovered Country. Number 1, the New York Comic Con black and white variant. I don't know. These covers are boring to me. I bought Undiscovered Country number 1. I bought a couple store variants that had really, really nice covers. I think one of them was by Cale No, and there was another one by John Gallagher. And they're really, really good looking covers. This to me is boring. So that's nothing I would buy. Number 8 on the list, Powers of X number 2. First appearance of Gold Frickin' Balls. Yeah, I mean, it's a good issue to have in your collection for sure. A cover especially, going for $22. Number 7 on the list, Spawn 301. Mentioned earlier down the list. This is the McFarlane Virgin variant, selling around 40 bucks, I guess. It's okay. I mean, it's a nice looking cover. Not bad. Number 6, Absolute Carnage, Immortal Hulk. Number 1, the Codex Dale Keown variant. 9 CBCS just sold for $150 for a 9.8. It's a cool cover. It's definitely one of the better. I'm not a big fan of Dale Keown's artwork. It's just a little too exaggerated for me, and it just brings me back to all those bad memories of all those piece of crap image books that that they produced in the 90s. His was one of the worst. Pitt, oh, it was terrible. Number 5 on the list, Powers of X. Number 6, the Cafu, is it Cafu Decades variant? Yeah, the Wolverine. Yeah, it's cool. I just like I was buying the Huddleston and the A cover basically only. I didn't really care for any of the other covers. Number 4 on the list, Joker Year of the Villain number 1, the Boland variant, selling for around 75 bucks. I know these are pretty short supply. Basically, any retailers who turned in their recalled copies, actually, I don't even think they had to turn them in. I think they had to sign like an affidavit saying that they either destroyed them or sent them back in. That's going for $75. Not my favorite cover. I definitely don't care for that cover, so I wouldn't pay $7.50, let alone $75. So, no offense to anybody that owns that book. The Delato is my favorite cover, especially the limited trade dress variant. That book is way better than that cover. Way, way better. Number 3, Wolverine number 1 from 1988. This has been recently on the list for a few weeks now. Undervalued book, first Wolverine in his own solo series. Definitely a book that I think you should have in your collection. 9.8 just sold for $165, up 116%, so that book is on the move. And then Wolverine number 1 from the miniseries from 1982. I've got that book as well, and I have a 9.8 of that, CGC 9.8 of that, and a raw of that in high grade, so I've been holding on to those for a long time, and it's nice to see that book's starting to rise again. And number 1 on the list, Ghost Rider 28. This is one that I highlighted on this week's video just a few days ago. Even though Ghost Rider is officially canceled on Disney+, Hellstrom is moving forward, and it seems to be moving towards a Midnight Suns team. So this book's up 249% for a high raw sale of $26. I was able to grab this right before that spike, so I think I paid $10 for mine, so it was pretty cheap. I also have the first appearance of Hellstrom, which is, I think it's Marvel Spotlight number 12, if I'm not mistaken. That's a good book to try to track down. I've got a nice copy of that in my collection, and I think that book's only going to go higher. So that's your top 20 list from CovrPrice for the week. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for notifications, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you guys soon.